So, one of the big things that you all provide, and again, when I said in the beginning, where were you at the beginning of my career? Because one of the things you write about on your website is that, have you taken data on a sticky note that has been misplaced? And it was like,
On
you
brand.
see me, you know me. I mean, it was like, oh, yes, I have true confessions many times. And so organization is not one of my strengths. And so I love that you all create and make it so easy for people to feel like they're organized, even if that's not naturally how they feel. So, what advice would you give to clinicians who are just getting started, or like myself, who have been in the field for a long time, who just need some assistance with organization and finding a system that works best for them? What do you recommend for that?
I think the first thing is throw out binders and paper, like file folders, all of it. And I say that with a grain of salt because it's one thing. It's how SLPs have been doing it since the beginning of time. We love our paper data sheets. But the problem with having all of these binders is one, it's not my strength either. That ability to organize things effectively so that I can grab it when I need it, that it's updated all the time. I mean, I have gone through every kind of possible system there is, a file cabinet, file folders, a box next to my desk, the binders. I go to grab that group with their data sheets, and I forgot that Johnny's IEP was updated last week, and I never updated his new goals, so his data sheets are relevant to me right now. I don't remember what goals that I just assigned to him. And so the idea of trying to find something, now, if you've got a great system that works for you, kudos to you. But I would still argue that with the binders and the file folders and all the paper is you never have it when you need it. And if you're moving from room to room or you're doing work in another setting, then, or the idea of it getting lost, to me, just makes it so much better to have a system online. And so there's so many different apps that are starting to come out for data collection, but even something as simple as Google Drive and Google using Excel spreadsheets or something to document and track and to try to keep those things accessible on any device. So I don't really love any kind of app where it's the data is only on the device. I like things that are more in the cloud, like Google Drive. Something like that. So something where it's accessible on any device and you have access to it. It's just also a lot easier to organize information and find it on digital platforms than it is in paper.
Especially if you're traveling between schools. I mean, some people have the luxury of just being at one school, but many do not. I can even remember seeing early in our career when our business startup journey, we were still working full time and doing business stuff. And so we would travel and Sarah would be in the hotel room doing Medicaid billing at night because she didn't need a binder. She had everything in her laptop and was able to do that really quickly and efficiently in that way. And we saw that also with this whole introduction of COVID into not just society, but how it affected us in our workplace. And we got lots of feedback from our current users that they were so grateful that they had already been in a digital format because at some sites, they were just closed. They were just told, don't come in again. So if everything you had was at that school site and you had no idea, how to write treatment plans that still needed to be written or take data because you don't even know what the goals are or where are you going to organize that. And usually our home spaces, our home offices are not super organized unless that is a career choice you have already decided to take. So that was a big shift, I think, too, that now people are in this mindset of, okay, digital is here. And it's funny, what I always think is interesting is we use digital organization for pretty much every aspect of our lives that's personal. It's just this work, especially in the schools. And the only thing I can think of is that the software we're required to use in schools is usually super old and not user friendly. So then we take that as school-based clinicians and kind of apply that to, there aren't any digital tools that make my life better, but that's not the case. Like I think of even with when we designed SLP Toolkit. So from the jump, when we were working with engineers who think of things in a specific way, we were always looking at our software through the lens of, I am a school-based SLP. I will have groups of 2 to maybe 8 students in front of me, depending on what I'm doing. And it has to function well within the dynamic of my job. And it also can't be where it's going to be a really hard thing for me to learn how to use, because the software we encounter in special education, not only is it old, but then I feel like it requires like a novel to read to understand how it works. And then you still don't really know how it works because they're buying software based on price and need as the district, not need as the individual. So that's what I would say. If you're hesitant about trying any of these awesome digital things, it's look at what it is, see maybe why it was created and who created it. Because even there have been some, we went to a convention once several years ago where there was a software that was developed just by a software engineer because he geeked out on the technology. But I remember thinking, like, as he's doing his pitch, I'm like, but do you even know any speech therapists? Because I'm thinking of this in context of working with kids, and that doesn't always gel. So just do your homework and try things out. I know most of these products, including ours, has a free trial. So no harm to check it out and see if it might work.